What's up, Lazy Gang? Welcome to the Lazy A podcast, where we talk anime and anime and anime and another anime and some more anime. This is your host, Jody, and I would like to take the opportunity to talk to y'all about One Piece. So a friend of mine kind of gave me a call, and he was telling me about how he saw some clips, some reels of Luffy going Gear 5, like the shot between him versus Lucci the second time. He was like, man, this looks like a badass anime. But he was telling me something that I think is very fair. It's very fair to say, because I'm a One Piece fan. I love the series. It's really it's in my top 10 for sure. And I say it's a very fair point because it's a long ass fucking anime. And he was telling me that he feels like it's kind of too late to get into it, which is fair, right? But what's really cool is that they actually made like these recap episodes. I think there's 2 or 3. I can't remember, but not episodes, but they're like specials or like short movies of recaps of like the first couple arcs. So you kind of get a good idea of like what's happening, what the story's about, the characters, etc. Right? But look, if you have absolutely nothing to do, go ahead and watch it. Start at episode 1. But I will say this, that yes, the earlier episodes are way slower, especially by today's standards, because nowadays there's so much content being pushed at us, not just in music, not just in anime or movies, like in all forms of media. And our brains, I think, have evolved or devolved to the point where our attention spans are shortened just so we can keep up with everything being pushed at us. With that being said, let's get into what is One Piece, right? So at its heart, One Piece, to me, is a story about the family that you meet along the way to your dreams. Because like every shoujo anime about chasing after your dream or having a dream and all of that, right? One Piece does a great job at really putting a spotlight on the relationships that you meet along the way. So to me, One Piece is more a story about, it's a pirate anime and adventure and shoujin and fights and etc. But at its heart, I think it's really more about found family. And I'm speaking to all my hustlers out there who I know you know what I mean when I say that sometimes like the fucking relationships that you meet along, like on the road to a worthwhile dream or goal, sometimes they're like, those are the treasures, bro. Which might sound cheesy to some, but I don't think it sounds cheesy to people who actually been in the trenches with other people, like trying to get a goal or something accomplished, right? Because those are the times that you actually miss, and those are the people that you may not see as much, but man, every time you see them again, it's all love, right? I think One Piece does that very great, how it puts a spotlight on these relationships. So One Piece, it is a world of pirates. It is a pirate anime. And in this pirate world, there are these things called devil fruits, which to me are fucking comical, because when you think of pirates, you think of people on the seas, right? Well, whoever eats these fucking fruits, people fucking drown. They can't swim. They lose the ability to swim, which is fucking hilarious to me. But then you're thinking like, why would people eat these fruits? Because that's how people get their special powers. Like some fruits give you the ability to turn into light. Some fruits give you the ability to turn into a fucking animal. Some fruits literally give you the ability to cause earthquakes, right? But you lose the ability to swim, which is funny because, you're thinking like, how would that work? One Piece just makes it work. It just really does. So the story follows a young boy named Monkey D. Luffy who has the dream of being the king of the pirates, because in his mind, the king of the pirates is the freest person in the world. And one day he just decides to set out on a journey like every entrepreneur does and create his own thing. And along the journey, he starts meeting each of the Straw Hats, which I will say, this is one great strength that about One Piece. Every character it introduces adds to the world building. It adds to the story, it adds to what's going on, and it ties it together to the overall plot. And like most of the shoujin anime, you probably see these side characters that are cool and all, but they always look to the main protagonist to save the day or save them, right? But like the Yu Yu Hakusho, One Piece does a great job of making each of its main cast badass in their own right and respectable in their own right, and like each of them are entertaining to watch, and they're all quirky. They all have their own like uniqueness and stuff. So let's just kind of run down the main cast about the Straw Hats. So you got Luffy, the captain, right? He's a rubber powered goofball. This dude's got a heart of gold. He wants to be king of the pirates, And one thing I do love about Luffy a lot is that, yes, he's got this basic, like, shoujo protagonist, kind of like Goku, where he's like, you know, he's just like the happy guy. He's strong as fuck, you know, very whimsical, very childlike, likes to eat and sleep, right? But there's moments in the storytelling where, like, he goes from comical Luffy into, oh, that's Captain Luffy. Almost like when you saw Goku turn into Kakarot when he faced Kid Buu, right? Like that look, like, that's one cool thing I really enjoy about Luffy is that when he turns into Captain Luffy, when he gets serious, when he has to have that heart-to-heart talk with each of his crew members, with people that he meets in life, like, you get to see this guy. He's not just comedic effect. Like, this guy is a captain. Like, he is about his shit, and there's a reason why he is one of the most favored anime protagonists of all time. You know, I mean, you can go on YouTube and look up like compilations of when Luffy was Captain Luffy, because like those moments are so well done, right? And he has like a moment with each of the Straw Hats, which is amazing. Like those moments and the sound designs during those moments are fucking amazing. You got Roronoa Zoro. He is the number 2. He's the second mate of the crew. He is the swordsman. He's a stoic warrior who he fights with 3 swords. One in each hand and one in the mouth. Pause. Now resume. And he is the badass guy. He has the dream to become the world's greatest swordsman. But damn, he has a terrible sense of direction. Dude is like a bimbo. He's just like dumb. But man, when you see him fight, homeboy is badass as fuck. But he's also he's very loyal to a fault. You got Nami. She's the Navigator. She's cunning, resourceful. She was a thief, but she turned Navigator, who dreams of drawing a map of the entire world. She is lots of times the common sense, the voice to reason for the Straw Hats, especially in the beginning. But she's very fiercely protective of the crew, especially when money's involved. She has a thing for money, and you know, I can't help but respect that. You got Usopp, the sniper. He's like a cowardly storyteller, but he's very cunning. That's one thing about Usopp. The way he fights his battles and how he like ends up winning, you know, it ain't power. It's mainly through cunning, which is one thing that I would like to see a little bit more of. But like I was saying, like each of the character, they're not just like meatheads with huge power levels. Some of them have to outwit their opponents. And Usopp is one of the greatest examples of the show. Just like the time when he fought Perona, I think that's her name, the ghost lady. He literally just shocked her with a mallet, thinking that he was about to beat the crap out of her with a big mallet, and it ended up being a balloon, and she fainted. You got Sanji, the cook. He's like this suave kind of David Bowie dressing mother effer. Like he's elegant as hell, you know. Like he looks like definitely a cook from a fucking 5-star hotel. He's just like I said, suave. He's always got a cigarette, you know, and he fights with just kicks. The reason why he only fights with kicks and not his fists is because he says that a chef should always have, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong on the comments, a chef should always have decent hands, right? Or he just doesn't want to mess up his hands, because those hands are made to make beautiful food, which is really cool. You know, it's like, it might not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but like, oh, okay, that makes sense. He's a cook, and that's why he uses his foot, right? One thing about Sanji is that he's just obsessed with women, right? He has a lot of the comedic effects, but he does have his moments of man, heartbreak. Like he, I would say, is one of the best developed characters of the series, especially when you get to his arc, where he is, and I won't say too much, he is pretty much forced to be in a marriage, and if he doesn't, people that he loves will die, and it's tied into his backstory, and it's just that whole arc, you really get to see how tight each crew member gets, right? But one thing about Sanji that I do love is that, like, he is devoted to feeding people, and he hates seeing people starve. His dream is to find like the mythical blue. It's like it's a point where all of the seas meet. You got Tony Chopper. He is the doctor. He is a blue-nosed reindeer who ate a devil fruit that allowed him to transform into different forms. right? He is the most profitable of the group. And the reason why I say that is because that's how I was introduced to One Piece, because this girl actually walked by with a keychain, and it was Tony Chopper. And I'm not going to lie to you, gang, I thought it was Pokemon at first. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know you watched Pokemon. And, you know, she was one of those people that looked at me with such disgust and disdain, and was like, this is not Pokemon. This is One Piece. And I was like, bye. I was very shy back then, because he's fucking adorable. Like, if you look up Tony Chopper, like, he is just, whoever did his design just cooked. But he's like this young, short reindeer he's a brilliant doctor, and he wants to cure every disease in the world. And at first to be accepted by humans, but as he started like hanging around with the Straw Hats, he started just to accept himself more, right? But once again, he just wants to cure every disease in the world, because his mentor had the same dream, and his mentor was one of the few people that accepted him, because he was a walking, talking reindeer. You know, people were scared of him and shit, and they shunned him. And his mentor was the only one that actually, you know, he took him in and fed him and everything, right? And he shared his mentor's dream. You got Nico Robin. She's the archaeologist of the group. Why would a pirate group need an archaeologist? I'm still trying to figure that out. But she, in her own right, she's the femme fatale of the group. She's like this calm, mysterious, has a dark sense of humor, archaeologist, but man, she's an assassin. That's the thing. Like, that's her background. She comes from an assassin background. But one thing about Robin is that she has like this dark past, and she's had a bounty since childhood. Like, because she comes from this island called O'Hara, and in O'Hara it was an island of a bunch of scholars that were trying to find the truth of the world. And apparently there's this thing called the 100-year void gap, where the highest authority or the government in the world don't want anybody to know about. And the scholars at O'Hara, they were pretty much butchered for even attempting to discover the truth, because they're scholars. And she comes from that she was able to escape from the massacre at O'Hara, and because of that, she's had a bounty since childhood, and she just had to survive on her own, right? But her whole goal is just to find the true history of the world, you know. One of her powers is she ate this fruit. I forgot what it's called. I think it's like the hand group, but she's able to summon limbs from anywhere in her body, like any new limbs from any part of her body. Get your mind out the gutters, motherfuckers. And she snaps people's necks by just literally summoning arms from behind them and just snapping their necks, right? She's beautiful as fuck, but she's a femme fatale. She will kill you. You got Frankie. He is the shipwright. He's the one that, you know, fixes the ship and does maintenance on the ship when it needs to be. He's like this loud, eccentric cyborg. Yes, he's a cyborg. Like, there are cyborgs in this anime. And he has a love for cola and building ships. He is the one that created the Thousand Sunny, which is the name of the pirate ship. And he has this funny gag where he just yells out "super" all of the time, and you just love it every time. You just love it every time he just says that. And he reminds me of a frat boy. Honestly, he's a loud, eccentric cyborg frat boy that just has a love for building ships, because his mentor built ships, right? And he just wants to follow in mentor's footsteps, because his actual mentor was the Shipwright, or he was the one that created the old pirate king's ship. And when he met Luffy, and Luffy, you know, just has this great way of just making people believe in his dream. And he decided to become the Shipwright for the Straw Hats. And he decided to make the Thousand Sunny to be the best pirate ship for the new pirate king. You got Brook, the musician, you know, and once again, like, I'm not making this up. Brook is a talking skeleton with a giant afro, and he loves to make a bunch of skeleton puns. You see what I'm saying? How every fucking character is like unique and has their own like kind of funny thing. You know, it's fucking hilarious. He is a swordsman and a musician, right? The reason why he's a skeleton is that, and I'm not trying to spoil it because he's got a tragic backstory, but he died and he ate a fruit that caused him to still continue living, even as a skeleton. You know, and one thing about Brook that I respect a lot is that he is always lighthearted. Every time you see him, he always has that comedic. He's always a comedic, you know, break. But behind the comedy, just lies a deeply tragic soul, especially when you see the whole what's the name of the song, the last song that him and his pirate crew before he died sung together, Binks something, I forgot what it's called, but man, and the fact that he learned through, because he was alive for Lord knows how long, I forgot how long. He was literally just waiting on a pirate ship for hundreds of years, I can't remember how long, but he was just waiting to die, but he just couldn't die. And meeting Luffy made him happy to be alive, you know, and that made him extremely loyal to Luffy and the pirate crew. You got Jinbei, and he is the latest of the pirate crew. He is the helmsman. He is a fishman. He's half man, half fish. No, not some guy did not get jiggy with Ariel and made, you know, fish people. There's just literally a race of in this world called Fishman. Yes, they live under the sea. And he's a very noble and powerful fishman who is a karate master. I would say he's the wisdom of the group. He does a great job at just like rounding people up and letting them see the bigger picture when shit goes down, right? And he just really, really respects the deep like unity between the Straw Hats. He was actually what is called the Old Warlord, which were pretty much like these pirates that were tied to the government. And the reason why he became a warlord is so the government would not butcher his fellow fishermen. And it just goes to show you that he's got a heart of gold. Now, here's one thing about all of these pirates. They all, in one shape or another, always have this want to help somebody that is in need, which goes back to the found family thing of the whole story, right? Because Luffy, from the get-go, he wears his heart on his sleeve. And that's how he met all of these Straw Hats, by helping somebody out that was in need. And I think that's why all of these pirates respect Luffy so much. That's why all of these members respect Luffy so much, because they see his heart of gold and they see somebody like them. And what better to connect than going on a journey together on a worthwhile goal, right? So that's why I meant how One Piece does a great job at just showcasing those relationships. So what should you expect out of One Piece? At the end of the day, to me, it's more than just an anime about pirates. You know, it's about chasing your dreams, no matter the fucking odds, you know, and like the people that you meet along the way, you know, which is very real in real life. You know, loyalty, found family, and standing up for what's right, even when the fucking world around you says you're wrong. You're gonna see moments where you're gonna laugh your ass off. You're gonna see moments where you're definitely gonna cry. You know, you're gonna want to fucking yell at your screen. But at the end of the day, you're gonna really care about a young rubber boy in a straw hat and the crew that sails with him and their adventures. It's a fun ride. It's a very fun ride. So I don't really think it's too late. If anything, you know, go ahead and start your journey now, because the way the story is progressing right now, ooh boy, it's ramping up, and the animators are going OT because they're making the fight scenes and the choreography way more epic. It's really getting up there. They're about to talk about my boys Kuma's past. Man, y'all ain't ready for that shit. I know y'all ain't ready for that shit. Shut up, manga readers. I know you know. But go ahead and start the journey, man. Go ahead and start the journey. You know, don't let the 1,000 episodes scare you, right? Just watch, you know, little bits here and there, or just watch the recap episodes. They should be streaming on Crunchyroll, Funimation, and other legal website, you know, because I know all of y'all are good noodles. Y'all don't go into those illegal anime websites, you know what I mean? Yeah, we want to support the animators so they can continue to cook. But tell us what you think about One Piece, you know? Hopefully this kind of helped you kind of get an understanding of what One Piece is about, you know, or like how to get started, because it's a fun ride. And let us know if you want us to do more like video essays like this about certain animes, or, you know, whatever. I don't know, just leave a comment or a like and subscribe, you know. And don't let people like Aaron tell you anything. One Piece is not trash. Just have fun, watch it. You know, fuck the motherfuckers. They want to watch a CGI Gundam. But that's it for today's video, man. I hope y'all have a good one. Lazy out.
What's up, anime lovers? Welcome back to Lazy A Podcast, where we talk all things anime, hot takes, epic fights, and those tear-jerking moments that hit you right in the feels. I'm Dre, that's Aaron, and that's Jody.
Howdy. Y'all already know I'm here to drop some knowledge on the goats of anime, old and new. If Y'all want to debate me? Let me know. Run it. I win those every single time.
What's up, Lazy Gang? If you're here, you already know the vibes. Anime discussions, top tier breakdowns, and of course, some shit that I might say that might get me canceled, but hey, shit, let's go.
All right, now listen up, squad. We have a mission. We've been grinding, putting out content, breaking down fights, ranking OP characters, bringing you guys the best anime content possible. And now, we're setting a goal.
That is correct. We're aiming for 500 subscribers, and we need y'all to help us get there.
That means like, comment, and if you haven't already, man, hit that subscribe button. Let's make this the most hyped anime community on YouTube.
Every sub gets us closer to bigger content, more deep dives, collabs, giveaways, all that good stuff. So if you love anime as much as we do, let's smash that goal.
And don't forget to drop a comment. What anime should we cover next? Name your topic. We'll try to get a video out on it. Let us know in the comments.
All right, Lazy Gang, that's it for now. And, thank you to those who are already subscribing, bro. But we'll be back with more anime madness. So until next time, stay hype, stay anime, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Let's go! Road to 500 subs, here we come.